Okay, we've got a little training commentary today going against one of the black belts that trains here at Legion, one of my favorite training partners, Jason. Very technical, very athletic, always a super tough round. So let's get into it. So right off the bat here, I pulled guard with like a cross grip here, trying to use like a laser guard type control where I have a cross grip on the sleeve here, and then I kind of pulled them into like a little reverse de la Hiva / half guard type situation. And the main thing I'm trying to focus on at this point is not letting him touch me at all, like not let him get a grip with the hand I'm controlling with that cross sleeve. As long as I maintain control of this grip, don't let him grab me with it. That will allow me to use his arm kind of as like a barrier between the two of us. In order for him to pin me on a pass, he has to connect chest to chest. And so essentially what I'm going to do is anytime I feel like my guard is threatened, I'm going to try to pull that arm across to the mat to kind of off balance him and then keep his arm between the two of us so he never gets that chest to chest connection here. And then in the half guard position as well with this grip, I have both of my feet next to his knee here, and then this control with my feet next to his knee, and then this grip here on the tricep, and I still have the cross grip sleeve as well. With all of these things in play, I've pretty much removed all the posts and base he has on this side, so if he were to drive too much pressure this way, it would allow me to sweep him. But Jason and I train together a lot, so he's aware of this and knows what I'm looking for, so he's kind of leaning his weight in the opposite direction, but that does allow me to kind of recover out of that half guard reverse de la Hiva position, and then from there, as I kind of recover, get my legs back in front. Same thing, just trying to make sure he doesn't touch me with that cross sleeve grip, making sure I'm replacing my frames. Usually people's pressure, like the things you need to worry about, are their shoulder line and then their hip line here. So, excuse me. As I'm playing guard, I try to always make sure I have frames either across the shoulders or across the hip. Ideally both, but sometimes as a person's dealing with like he's pushing my foot down off the hip, so I'm making sure right now I've got that foot as like a spider guard grip in the bicep, transition back to this laser guard control, and then just then my partner stepped up with this far leg here. He brought this leg up to like a combat based position, so I was briefly looking at trying to go to like a De La X, but he brought his leg back down. He's trying to retract his leg, and then here he does it again. He steps this leg up over on this side, and so I try to weave my leg through to go to the De La X position, but my leg was too low in comparison to his leg, and so that allowed him to turn this knee out and kind of clear the position before I could set it up. So I just focused on recovering here, and then he was really setting his weight back and connecting his heels to his butt, which is very good for him. Anytime someone's butt is connected to their heels, it makes it very difficult to move them or off balance them. And he's on both knees as well. I have kind of like a butterfly guard going on here, and so what I do is I transition to this same side sleeve grip and then this cross collar grip here like this, because these two grips are very good in this situation. It allows me to, if my partner is driving too far backwards, I can come up on a single leg with these grips, or if I threaten that and my partner drives this way back into me, then I can use these grips to elevate and go to a single leg X position. And so here, boom, right at this moment, I felt he moved his weight a little too far backwards, so in that moment I kept my grips and then I scooted myself this way out from underneath him to allow me to do kind of like a technical stand up so that I could get to the standing position with these grips. And Jason is very hard to take down, so I pinched his leg between mine and then fed the lapel underneath his leg to my other hand, so that way I could just try to kind of like rest in the position, use these grips to kind of put weight on him here. And then I'm using this hand to cup behind the back of his head here so that I can drive more pressure into him. Hopefully in this situation I'm trying to tire him out before I get tired. He's very hard to take down. And tried passing the leg underneath, didn't really feel like that was working, so I'll go back to kind of posting on the shoulder there, trying to keep my weight forward, trying to hang my weight on him. Thought about switching to like a double leg type configuration, where with this hand I was looking at switching to grabbing on the inside of his pants, but he broke that grip before I had a chance to do anything. He's leaning his weight back. Tried to go for like a run the pipe, but my legs were too loose. My legs were too loose in that situation. I didn't have the right momentum. I was hinging not enough at my knees and too much at my hips. So while it was off balancing, it wasn't enough to actually put him down. Wrestling is not my strong suit, as you can tell, but I am working on it. Here, I'm trying to hike his leg up, feed the lapel even further, but he's putting a lot of pressure down with this leg. He's being super heavy with his leg here, so any movement I do is also while trying to carry some of his body weight, so very difficult. Then I kind of went for a trip behind the leg, and then right off that he tried to off balance me, but I managed to kind of ride out that elevation he tried to go to when I took him down. So when I took him down from that single leg, I tried to, in the transition of him going down, tried to make sure that my weight was going more straight down instead of down and forward, which would allow him to off balance me even more. And then as soon as I took him down as well, when we got to this headquarters position, I broke this grip on my collar, and then I kept the grip as well, so that again, the main thing I'm worried about now at this point is him off balancing me forward and potentially taking me down, or kind of doing the same thing I did to him in this situation. So now I'm just focused on trying to like break his grips on my legs, put enough forward pressure to kind of keep him on the defense without exposing myself. He threw in a lasso to try to negate some of my forward pressure, and he freed his other leg there. So now we're in kind of like a collar sleeve with a shallow lasso, trying to make sure that I keep my elbow on the inside of my knee here and keep my knee driving forward to not get exposed to omoplatas, triangles, things like that. Trying to work like a pressure passing situation, and then as I was pressuring forward into Jason with that like stacking pressure, his response was to extend his legs away from me to try to push me off of him. But then when he did that, it opened up all of this space here for me to go to. And so kind of as I pushed into him, he pushed into me. And then as he pushed into me, I like jumped over his other leg to go to the side control. But he's got a good frame on my hip here. And then he was also able to bring his knee back in over here. So I wasn't able to maintain the position. He recovers. Throws this leg over my head as well, which allows him to again push me away. He's still framing here. I tried to circle to the other side, but then he just recovered, trying to keep my elbows in tight. We end up in close guard. He opened, transitioned to open guard. So now at this point I'm trying to, he's got good grips on me, but I'm kind of trying to negate those grips by trying to use this hand on his pants to push his leg backwards so I can clear his knee line here. And then while I'm grabbing his collar with this hand, I'm also trying to use my elbow to frame on the inside of his knee and push it down. So when we're trying to pass the guard, we're trying to get past our partner's ankles. We're trying to get past our partner's knees, and then at the very end, we're trying to get past their hips. So right now my main goal is just trying to get past his feet and his knees. But he's doing a good job of keeping everything tight. I managed to stuff the leg. trying to put pressure. I'm trying to get my chest to the outside of his knee so I can use my body weight to kind of fatigue those adductor muscles. But he's doing a good job of kind of hip escaping the other direction, flaring open his knee, so I'm not able to go full on to like a smash pass. And then now at this point, I'm trying to feed the lapel underneath his leg here so that I can go for like a platinum worm style passing. But he's doing a good job of every time I like reach underneath to grab the lapel, he circles his foot back in front of my shoulder, which prevents me from securing the grip the way I need it. So I got it there almost, but then again, he pummeled his foot to the inside. So tried that a couple times, didn't work. I was like, okay, it's time to move on. So again, trying to keep my knee up, elbow connected to knee, trying to put forward pressure without overexposing myself. He's playing spider lasso here. Trying to use my feet to help me clear those grips. He transitions to a De La Hiva on the other side, controlling my sleeves, got the lasso. And so I kind of did the same thing to him there that he did to me earlier, where from the De La Hiva, I kind of turned my knee to the outside to drop my leg and clear that position a little bit. Breaking grips, pull the lasso out, drive in, pressure, I circle through. Again, he's doing a really good job of every time I kind of get through, he frames, recovers. So now at this point, this is where things get interesting. So pay attention to this area here. As I go to the other side, he grabs my sleeve here. And so what I'm going to do is with my other hand, I'm going to reach underneath his leg here with this hand over here. I'm going to reach underneath his leg to get a cross grip on this sleeve here. So let's take a look. So I managed to get it. Now once I get it, now my next goal is to get his leg between my legs, kind of like almost like going to like an over under position or like half guard or headquarters, but while I still have that cross grip on the sleeve. And then now that allows me to kind of do kind of like a long step type motion, but because I preemptively took control of the frame that he needed to stop the pass, he wasn't able to stop me from passing essentially, because this frame alone on the opposite side is not enough to stop him. There's not enough to stop me from completing the pass in that situation. So this is a very sneaky pass I like to use. It works a lot. Now I'm just focused on keeping my head down, trying to get chest to chest, trying to pummel my hands in front of his leg so he doesn't recover, staying low. Circle to the other side. And so here, the different passes. So we want to think of passing in kind of like two phases at the macro level. There's like the action of passing the person's guard, like whatever pass you use to get around their legs, and then after passing there's like retaining the position as well. So different passes will put you in different positions, and then that allows, depending on how you end up on their body when you pass, that allows different opportunities for your partner to escape. So after I passed the north-south, I started to circle to side control on the other side, but my hands and my upper body is low along his hips, because at first I was worried about his legs coming back in to recover the guard. So I'm focusing a lot on controlling his lower body, not allowing his lower body to get back into the picture. But at the cost of this, now his upper body has a little bit more freedom, so he's able to rotate underneath me. And as we'll see here, my goal from here is to try to transition from that lower body control to upper body control without allowing him to recover his guard. And so, but he manages to get to his side. Like I mentioned, I didn't have a lot of control on his upper body, so I was able to turn, and I wasn't able to keep him down. He goes for kind of like a single leg, and I tried to reverse it, and then he like spun around, and I tried to come on top to not get pinned on bottom. So now we're here in turtle. Did kind of like a sit out, keeping my knees tucked to my chest, not allowing him to get to the side. I do this to try to either recover the half guard if I can get my legs around one of his legs, or if not, then I just go belly down again, back to the turtle. Trying to hand fight here, not let him get a grip around my neck or too controlling of a grip on my body. So I'm looking for an opportunity to sit out again, not letting him throw the hooks in, keeping my elbows tight to my body, keeping my hands kind of by my hips when needed, when I'm worried about hooks. Try to sit out again. This time I managed to successfully trap one of his legs between mine. Got the half guard. Now I kind of tried pulling him into like a deep half position there, but didn't quite work. I moved his leg, but his hips and his other leg were still a little too far away from me. So I turned back into like a reverse De La Riva type control with like the shin on shin. Just putting a lot of forward pressure with that knee. Kind of goes for a cross choke. That allowed me to, since his hands were busy on my neck trying to choke me, that allowed me to grab his leg and pull him into the single leg X here. But now he's doing a very good job in the single leg X. See how his leg is like this and he's on his toes here? So when his toes are in the same line as his hips and his knee is so far forward, it makes it very difficult for me to do like the classic like chip the person backwards kind of sweep. In order for me to do that on bottom, I want to try to extend him away and get his foot out of line with his hip. So I want his hip and his foot to be at kind of like an angle like that. But when he's here like this, his base is very solid. So it's hard for me to move. So now at this point, all I'm kind of worried about is using my foot on his side here and then this foot here to try to kind of extend him away, create a little bit of distance. He's a little too close for my liking in this position. Kind of clears the foot, but I'm pinching my knees pretty tightly and still keeping my knees tight to my chest while looking for that pants grip there. So here, trying to grab this pants and still keeping my knees tight, pulling them in this way. So I'm trying to not create any openings for a pass. I'm also, it's at like 6 a.m. at this time, and I'm pretty tired at this point. I think this is one of the last rounds, kind of elevated. So I did manage to come up. Okay, yeah, so what ended up happening as well on the other side while all this was going on was I managed to feed the lapel underneath his leg on this side. So I've got the lapel underneath his leg. I had this shin on shin with the pants grip here on this side. So that allowed me to kind of off balance him up and then extend him away to turn this into like a wrestling situation where I come up. Now you can see the lapel start reaching around the hip, and he tried to do like a sumi gaishi there to throw me, but I was kind of expecting that, prepared for it. So again, when we're in these kind of like takedown situations and the person starts to go down, I want to make sure that my weight also goes straight down. I don't want my weight to go too far forward because then I could get flipped or reversed. The takedown could get turned around on me there. So as soon as he sat down to try to throw me, I just tried to drop my weight, but he hit me with a very powerful off balance. So I ended up having to post my hands on the mat and then elevate my legs a little bit. I was trying to avoid him kind of diving on like a leg lock or knee bar or something. And then now as we're getting towards the end of the round, I ended up on top. I got this knee in the middle, trying to make sure I keep my knee and elbow relatively close to each other. He managed to off balance and sweep me over, but I tried to make sure in that situation that even though he swept me, I was able to just immediately put him in single leg X again, which I had confidence in my ability to sweep him from the single leg X. So, and then the round ended there. So yeah, that's all I've got for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something, and let me know what else you would like to see.